So this is part 177, line 18A, 3z5b3b Tetrahedrite. I'm not sure if I'm saying it right, okay? So Tetrahedrite Quark Wafers CVD thermal spraying plasma 5G Wow Seti. Again, I want to remind you, when you see the 5G and the 5G Wow Seti, if it says UFO 5G, it means it's for the whole ship. If it's just 5G, then it's part of the formula for the fuel, or anything to do with the jets and the propulsions, or the engine part itself. I usually put 5G in there, just so you know. You want to look at that video for formulas, okay? So here's the alien radio signal here from the Wow Seti. And we're going to Google S matrix and rocket formalization. As you well know, in the last video this came up, and of course I wanted to know what does it mean and what's it got to do with everything else, right? So this is what I found, some more stuff. So Journal of Physics, Atomic, Molecular, and Optical Physics. And this is called, from B.R. Judd and G.M.S. Lister, 1993, relating Slater rock bases to a quark-like formalism for the atomic F shell. So Slater determinants and the group theoretical bases of Rocka are expressed in terms of quark-like states by means of explicit examples drawn from the atomic F shell. 4 distinct quark-like objects, which for convenience the authors refer to simply as quarks, together with 2 parity labels, are required. So they're saying that's what's required. Now what I'm saying is the neutrinos, once they collide, they divide up into 4 quarks, okay? Well, actually more than 4, but replace this section here with neutrinos and see if you can work it with this Rocka-Sachs, whatever you call it, Slater-Rock theory thing here, okay? So Rock's group SO7, which acts on the 7 states of an F electron, is augmented by SO7, the group acting on the 7 states of an F quark. The assignment of group labels is illustrated by means of the commuting generators of these groups. The components of SZ and QZ of the spin and quasi-spin are constructed as operators, acting on 2 quarks at a time, and their Eigen values, ms and half and 7, n minus 7, are used to identify states generated by the shift operator L minus, or whatever that means. The complementary group to SO7 is exemplified by 2 1n terms of F6 and F10, spanning a 2-dimensional irreducible representation of the permeation group for the 4 quarks. Connection is made with the quark model for the P and D shells. Okay, so that's April 7th, 2012. So the keywords that stand out in this abstract: 4 distinct quark-like objects. My thoughts: I think of neutrinos splitting with lepton spin to produce the 4 quark-like objects. I keep Googling different keywords and come to something interesting. Thermal spraying, heated by electrical, plasma, or arc. Thermal spraying can provide thick coatings over a large area at high deposition rate. And then the next thing that comes up is chemical vapor deposition. CVD is a chemical process used to produce high purity, high performance solid materials. This process is often used in the semiconductor industry to produce thin films. In a typical CVD process, the wafer substrate is exposed to 1 or more volatile precursors, which react and or decompose on the substrate surface to produce the desired deposit. Frequently volatile byproducts are also produced, which are removed by gas flow through the reaction chamber. Okay, so April 7th, 2012, my thoughts. This is the formula I've come up looking at the last 3 videos. I'm combining them together to see if we can do something with them. So we're going to take thermal spraying. You want to add a thick coating, add a high deposition rate, plus the CVD chemical vapor deposition, plus react, plus decompose, plus produce desired deposit, plus removed by gas flow, plus through the reaction chamber. And my question is this used for nuclear fusion? Okay, and here's the graph I found. Electrodes, the plasma, substrate to pump, source gas, carrier gas, okay? So plasma methods, see also plasma processing. There's microwave plasma assisted CVD, MPCVD. There's plasma enhanced CVD. Processes that utilize plasma to enhance chemical reaction rates of the precursors. PECVD processing allows deposition at lower temperatures, which is often critical in the manufacture of semiconductors. Again, we're thinking outside the box, right? We're looking at this to see if we could use some of this parts of this process with the neutrinos to speed them up to make them go faster than the speed of light. What my question is, I don't know if you can do it or not, but it talks about a chemical reaction is what you need in a nuclear reaction or nuclear fusion. Plasma is coming up. Cooled liquid argon gas plasma was what came up in a earlier formula, okay? So we're looking at different ways to work with this plasma to generate the type of power we need, okay? So similar to PECVD, except that the wafer substrate is not directly in the plasma discharge region. Removing the wafer from the plasma region allows processing temperatures down to room temperature. So our first formula, we're going to take the coated neutrinos from this thermal spraying plus the thick coating plus the high deposition rate. Again, the actual coating itself is covered in another video, and there's a formula for each and everything, but there's so many formulas that are coming up that I'm putting together. I don't know what we can use, but what you do is move the stuff around. If it doesn't work in this formula, you move it to another formula. That's the whole idea. You take these keywords, you put them together, they're a puzzle, you put it together, you try them out, and you see what you come up with, okay? So you got your coated neutrinos from the thermal spraying. You want to add a thick coating of whatever it is you use. You want to put in a high deposition rate. You want to add the CVD chemical vapor deposition, which will blanket everything, right? It's going to create a reaction. Then it's going to decompose. You're going to decompose your neutrinos. You're going to produce a desired deposit of whatever that is. You're going to add the removed by gas flow. So you're going to remove it with the liquid argon gas, which is cooled, plus through the reaction chamber. This is where we're going to create our nuclear fusion. You got to look at it that way, okay? So we're going to take this formula and add something to it. We're going to add the plasma enhanced CVD. We're going to add some electrodes. We're going to add split leptons. We're going to add a coated neutrinos plus the cooled liquid argon gas. And we're going to take the PECVD processing that allows deposition at lower temperatures from wiki notes. So it's going to use this process. Sorry. I want to see if you can use this process to cool your liquid argon gas with the neutrino mixture in it, or passing through it, or we haven't figured out what we're doing with it. And I have no idea how you guys do this. I'm just giving you some ideas of what you, as the scientists, you will put your heads together and you'll figure out how to do this, okay? So can we make a wafer with obsidian? Remember they're talking about the wafer in the PDF file? The answer is yes. I found out that you can, okay? So I'm going to Google the word obsidian wafers to see if it's possible, okay? And this booklet came up. It's called Kinematics and Dynamics of Lava Flows by Michael Manga and Guido Ventura. And in the notes, this is Quaternary Geochronology, Methods and Applications. Another book from M. Soares, Women Are Lettuce. It says if the obsidian wafer is still opaque, further grinding is necessary. So obviously they make them. Finally, a glass cover slip is cemented to the ground obsidian section with Canada balsam. Okay, so there's a, again, these notes here are going to be showing up on the Victoria Stafford A Psychic Investigation WordPress blog. So when I do blog these videos, I'll put the notes with them, and then you can take a look further into this, okay? There's the kinetics and dynamics of lava flows. That's where I found that obsidian. He says big glass mountain obsidian wafers, running from 49 to 20 wafer thickness. And he says analytical H2O concentrations. Okay, so I don't know what that means. So my thoughts continued. Keywords from Google searching obsidian wafers. Tetrahedrite. Tetrahedrite is a copper antimony sulfo salt mineral with formula. There you go. Okay. It is the antimony end member of the continuous solid solution series with arsenic bearing Tetrahedrite. My thoughts continued. The keyword arsenic. Okay, arsenic has been found in the alien microbes living in the vent by the lava-flowing volcanoes running at 800 degrees. This is what they look like. Now, doesn't that look like components to a spaceship? Seriously, it's like a triangle. That's the first thing I thought when I'm thinking, oh, those look like pieces to a UFO or something. And that's the first thing. It's nice and smooth and it'd be nice for that. But this is where they found this stuff at the ruins, eh? Isn't that pretty? Looks like gold almost. So my thoughts continue. I see the triangles in the A shape and I think this looks like a UFO metal alloy used for the outside shell of a UFO. I keep getting the word shell. Remember it said the atomic F shell? So I keep getting the word shell coming up and didn't figure out what it meant until now. You need the tetrahedrite for the UFO's outer shell structure. When I googled tetrahedrite and got tetrahedrite crystals with chalcoprite and sulfurite from the Cazapoca mine, Peru. I don't know how to say that word. Okay, so I know there's some ruins in Peru, so I'm going to go look for crystal skulls as well. This came up while writing about aliens in my fictional stories. I just wrote a novel and a screenplay in the first 2 weeks of April, and it's a story about the crystal skulls, how they are used to create power from aliens and stuff, and how man can use them in the pyramids and stuff. And then when I did some Googling after I wrote the story, which is supposed to be fictional, I found out some of the stuff that I wrote about was actually true, and I've never really studied any of this stuff before, so it's kind of freaking me out. But anyways, so yeah, we're going to go into more detail about that soon. So I found that crystal skulls are usually in close proximity of alien things from UFO crashes to crop circles to pyramids. So basically, everywhere anything alien is found, from microbes to UFO components to crop circles to pyramids, there's a crystal skull nearby. So I think there's a connection between the two. Somehow I think they tie in with one another. I may be going off a bit off track, but maybe, just maybe, there was a reason. I felt the need to write a novel and 2 screenplays other than it being Script Frenzy Challenge time in April 2012. That's the name of the challenge I do for Script Frenzy. That's what I just did that. I completed it. Got it done. So the story I wrote as fiction turns out to have some truth to it. I googled some of the keywords from my story and found out it's in relation to a civilization we know hardly anything about from over 10,000 years ago. Most of its historical records have not been discovered or damaged due to a great earthquake hitting the Indonesia area, and Earth's axis poles supposedly tilted, causing a great flood on most of the islands, making some of them disappear underwater, along with whole civilizations based on the ruins and archaeological findings in many of our oceans around the world. What's really freaky is I wrote this, and I also wrote a prediction that it could happen again. Yesterday, April the 10th. April the 10th, 2012, there was a large earthquake in Indonesia of 8.6 and 9.0. And so, yeah. So the prediction came true, and also I'm sure people there are pretty nervous because every time Earth's axis moves, and actually this week the moon's axis moved, and I got photos and videos to prove it, it caused quite a bit of disruption on the Earth here. So anyways, that's something else that I'll be blogging about on it's on the Victoria Stafford website. I keep going off track here. Anyways, here's all the videos here. You want to start with line 18A3z5b. It's the very beginning of this. This is a little mini series of 8 videos, all from one line of data. So I took the one line of data, which was originally line 18A3z5b, and I broke it down into 8 videos because it has a lot of information. There's our tags. These are all beyond the video. Okay, so I'm going to stop this and we'll film the next one.